Welcome, Lycanthrope community. In this video, I'm going to be going over strategies and tactics and what to do as a solo werewolf and group-based werewolf gameplay and how to be successful. Hope you guys enjoy and take everything that I give and use it effectively within your own groups or if you're by yourself. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, so if you're watching this clip, what I'm really doing is testing his defenses, testing his resistance, figuring out what he's running. Now, he's a mag DK, and what they would like to do to a werewolf is stun lock you. Technically, they do that to anybody. And if you also notice, he's running that set that basically dodges all of my attacks, which is very annoying, especially as a werewolf player, since you don't have much time in werewolf form, especially if someone's using that, your werewolf is looking at just drains really quickly. So you got to make sure when his little set's down or not proc, you need to make sure you do as much damage to him as possible and keep him pressured. And you see, it's very annoying, especially when you just CC like that. Perfect opportunity just to burst him down and just pick him apart, right? Well, a lot of us will mess up and not be able to successfully do that because we're not pulling off enough damage, especially when the set's not proc and the immunity is down, right? That's why I like to make a really important notice that you want to run a lot of max stamina and weapon damage. And the fact that he could technically theoretically kill me because I'm not on the super defense build, but I'm on a bursty build that is tanky enough to fight him. But you will see I will take him down at the end. Alright guys, so you're about to watch me fight a Stamplar on a werewolf. This guy's really good, but I actually don't manage to kill him because I had to go AFK at the end. But if you noticed, the way that I'm constantly pressuring him, and I think why Pack Leader is pretty good, because those dire wolves can, apply a snare while he's applying a snare to me. He's being snared as well. That's why he's hopping around and trying not to get hit. There was points where I came really close to dropping him, and that's the problem with the werewolf until gray mode, is that we're not pulling off enough pressure. But once we do, these guys won't be a problem anymore. When we build proper damage, they'll drop like flies when they're supposed to. Especially when they like to kind of linger around, like 2k health left, and for some reason they just don't go down around that mark because they're using mitigation. And some of these guys are actually vampires, which is weird, but yeah. But since vampire, I think they're losing the mitigations, and you have a problem. But anyway, one of the things as a werewolf, you want to keep your dodge rolling up, you want to try to counter him, cut angles in between the fight, and don't let him lock you down. That's what a Templar wants to do, right? He's gonna throw a jab at me, pin me to the ground, and then he's gonna try to jab me or burst me. Like that. That's why I started cutting angles, changing, moving around. Don't ever let them do what they need to do. And the fact that he's using poisons on me, which is kind of hilarious, but this guy's pretty good. The next patch, I won't have a problem killing him on a werewolf at all. But right now, it's too difficult because our damage is a lot lower. But we'll be back in the power mode in the Bible area. Don't play a Berserker against Stamplars. You could because you're bleeds, but currently the Berserker is not too good. And the fact that he just runs me out of werewolf form, which kind of sucks, because I'm constantly trying to defile him and get him down. And the fact that on a Templar, when you fight him as a werewolf, you want to try to drag them outside their AoE, because when you do that, they can't rely on purifies and all that to keep them alive. I definitely had so many opportunities to finish him off, but I could not capitalize because he would dodge at the right time. And that's just him playing on a Templar for a very long time, I assume. And the fact that I'm also a very experienced werewolf, and you also notice the timer is constantly fluctuating, which sucks. But next patch, Pack Leader, you'll be able to stay in there for about 1 minute and 10 seconds. But if you're in combat, it'll probably be forever. Because of how the Call of Pack works now with the dire wolves. And the fact that Pack Leader's tankier, and it would do more damage. So, next patch, Pack Leader is going to be the way to go for werewolf PvP. Berserker, you can get away with it, but make sure you're with another werewolf in your group, another pack leader or something, so you can get the bonuses. But anyway, like I said, I lose werewolf and I had to eventually just go AFK, so I just kind of just quit fighting them, which you'll see at the end of here. But other than that, when you fight Templars, make sure you drag them outside their AoE and make sure you have enough damage to put them down. Not be fighting them forever because their heals are stupid. Alright. Alright, so for werewolf group play, one of the main things y'all all need to do is make sure y'all build tanky enough and builds that kind of synergize and work with each other. If not, make sure all of y'all's builds are solid solo, so therefore y'all can be effective as a group. In this group, our werewolf builds are at least above 35k HP, so we're super tanky and we're running good sustain on mag pools, and we have a support healer. Now, if you decide to do a werewolf group with no support healer, be very aware it's going to be a lot harder to survive, and you'll be fighting ball groups that might blow you up and destroy you. So make sure you have a few good healers that are tanky enough and are fast as well, and willing to run with the werewolf group if they're not full of egotistical pride, I would say. And yeah. But when you play with the werewolf group, make sure that all of you guys focus on the same target, kind of like a dog pile technique. Make sure everyone hard focuses that one same target and bring them down. That's why our werewolves usually go for healers and tanks, but tanks are kind of annoying now. Don't even worry about them, they're just pointless, they're just there in PvP. Healers and DPS are what you really want to take down as a werewolf. Healers mainly focus first. I mean, like, all y'all just get on top of them. Bleeds, defiles, fears, somebody throw up a fear and somebody smack them with the howl so they're still getting popped with that 30% damage increase, etc. And make sure if you have a good amount of werewolves in your group, make sure someone, a few of them are running the house energy so that your light and heavy attacks will be increased. But if you also notice, make sure y'all kind of like group up and push forward when you're fighting an oncoming Zerg, because if you back up in certain situations, they'll overrun you. So it's better as a werewolf group to push forward, but make sure you don't push right into a siege line or a siege fire. If you do that, you will die if you don't have a healer that can purify it immediately. Also, what players like to do is ulti dump on werewolves. So basically what they'll do is they'll all get their ultimates and they'll pick a target and they'll hard focus you immediately. So that's why you need to have a group or another werewolf with you at all times, ready to throw up a CC or push forward or knock them back. But if they are not there, make sure you're able to dodge roll immediately and to try to avoid any type of AoE damage, especially when they like to pull out the little, AoEs of bombs or whatever, and a lot of them like to use vicious death, so make sure all your werewolves are tanky enough to survive if you decide to go with an all werewolf group and a healer or something like that. Another thing that you want to do is when you're fighting near a keep as a werewolf group, one of the hardest things to do is to try to siege, which you see in the video, it's pretty difficult to do. That's why we're just farming them and pulling them out to the side. And make sure when there's a bunch of them, make sure you have something in between you and the target, and make sure they don't, surround you. When they surround you, you're kind of screwed. And one of their biggest ways to kill you is that they're gonna try to snare you. That's why next patch they're coming out with this pretty interesting mythic item that basically gives you immunity to snares. So that might be really powerful in a werewolf as well. One of our weaknesses is snares and poisons and other werewolves. And siege. But make sure they don't lock you down or do anything like that, because if they do, they'll usually kill you. But when you push forward, make sure everyone's on point, everyone's listening, and then y'all can do that. Alright, so here's the do's and don'ts of a werewolf group. Even though we have a lot of werewolves, we're going to run into a group that we underestimate, and the fact that we didn't have any support heals, and some of the werewolves were running medium armor, which I highly advise against that, but since they were just beginners, they didn't understand, and now they have a lesson to learn from. Alright, so we ran in, underestimating our opponent, realizing that they had a spawn point here, and the fact even if we managed to kill them all, they would just come back down and probably wipe us anyway. And also the fact that we didn't have a group healer, or a few group healers, and that was another big problem, and the fact that this is no CP, our heals were very weak, and all the enemies have to do is out-sustain us and overrun us. So at the end of this clip, you just basically see me get overrun and killed, and the fact that our whole group was wiping, so it was kind of a pointless fight. So tip 1, don't wear medium armor in PvP on a werewolf. Tip 2, make sure you have group healers if you do group based. And tip 3, don't underestimate your opponent. And tip 4, don't push on a flag when you know there's no way of taking it. Alright, so let's get to the do's. Alright, so in this clip you're going to see that we were trying to help out a guy that was getting jumped. We ended up running into the same ball group. But we came more prepared. We actually got healers this time, and the fact that we knew what we were running up against immediately. And one of the things that I like to do with my group is I like to play as a pack leader so everyone can recognize me as a white wolf, and everyone plays as berserkers, so it makes it simple and easy to follow me, because some people have bad depth perception, especially not everyone who plays this game is very skilled, so they have to learn to, you know, coordinate and be on point. For some reason, some people are not very good at it. A lot of people are just casual players, not hardcore werewolf competitive players like me and a few others. But also what you want to look at here is the fact that when we were going to try to fight this group, my pack would just run in and, you know, because they were just being hard-headed and not listening. And if you notice, Darth Wolf right there just got dropped because he wasn't paying attention. In fact, he's also wearing medium armor. That's why I advise against it. You just die too quick. And I was trying to get their attention there by hopping, and then I just decided for everyone just to come in here and bring our support heals. And one of the things that I was trying to tell them is come up here and avoid their little AoEs and snares, since they're ice wardens. Down there, I also recognize that from experience from playing Battlegrounds a lot, ice wardens love to do that. They love to lock you down so they can just whip you and hit you with permafrost and basically just try to drain you and kill you with their damage. But what we did was I told everyone to come up top and try to avoid not standing in the middle with them. And then eventually when we noticed that they were kind of losing out on juice down there and their ultimates were failing, then that's when we pushed in and we started applying our defiles. And I kept telling my group to heavy attack, keep your stam up, break free if you have to, apply defiles. And then we all started to focus on one target and we go to the next target, and then we would just defile over and over. And if they had Templars in the group, they had the fact that they would just spam their Purify, and that's what gave us the win in the end. Most of the time, if we don't do our coordinations right, your group will lose the fight in the end, so be very aware, make sure everyone's on point, and if you have any hard head in your group and you're not really trying to play competitively, make sure he gets it. If he doesn't, he'll just get your whole group killed, especially if he goes in by himself, which has happened with my group a few times, and it's kind of annoying, but they'll learn. They always learn eventually, or they'll just quit playing it with you, or just quit messing with you. But tip 1 here is make sure everyone's on point. Tip 2, make sure everybody's wearing heavy armor. Tip 3, make sure you have group healers. And tip 4, make sure everyone is on point with dogpiling and hard focusing targets down. Alright, this is the end of the guide. I hope you all enjoy. Peace.